What is happening?
Hey, happy Tuesday, happy Melbourne Cup Day. I'm sure there's going to be a few sore heads tomorrow.
Yeah.
Congrats if you put a bet on. Well done to that. Special announcement tonight for anybody that wants to get a hold of our Steamroller indicator that you see us using all the time here inside UTG. We might as well show that straight off the bat. Ads. What we're doing is we're doing a 10-day free trial, and this went nuts last time that we offered this. Of all the indicators that we've created, I wouldn't say we rely, but we probably find that Steamroller yields the best results, showing us those oversold, those overbought conditions on so many different assets across a lot of different market types, whether it be FX, crypto, or otherwise. Steamroller is the bomb. So what we're offering is a 10-day free trial, and that all you got to do is just go to unitytradinggroup.com, go to the indicators tab up the top there, and go to the Steamroller indicator. Just punch in the button that says "Let's do this," and then that'll take you through, just entering your details, and then within any time of the 10-day period, you can cancel if you would like to step out and not do it. But I would highly encourage you, for $15 for 1 month. I think you will find immense value in Steamroller. We have so much data behind that from so many people that are using this already that see the validity in Steamroller. It is just such a phenomenal little indicator. We really, really do love it. So if you want to get a hold of that one, 10-day free trial, just go through and sign up, and you can cancel anytime in the 10 days. If not, do it for $15. If you don't like it, message us at the end of your month, and I'll happily refund you your $15 if you don't like it. So that's how you can get a hold of that. All right, let's get into the charts. BTCF, of course, if you like everything that we do here at UTG, everything we do is free, of course. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. That's what keeps us motivated and encouraged to keep bringing you all this free content, as we've been doing for the last 3 and a bit years. All right, ads. A bit of movement finally on BTC, but almost looking a little similar to what we saw just a few days ago. A bit of a drop and a little bit of a recovery at the moment off this trend line. Have we found ourselves a bit of a range here, or are we going to continue the moves down, ads? What do we think?
Honestly, depends on what time frame you're looking at, bro. To be completely honest with you, if we're looking at this 4-hour time frame, there is a still considerable amount that we can move to the downside if we were to get rejected off this trend line and not make the recovery that it looks like it's making right now. If we're unsuccessful in this movement to the upside, and we are starting to come down now, if we do close below this trend over the next little bit, then we can see it move down. The first area of interest that I would be interested in for BTC would be that 13.15 there. So we've got this nice level of short-term demand there, and we've got that nice retest to the right-hand side. That's where I think it would go if we do decide to close underneath this trend. If we, circle back and have a look at the daily like we have been for quite some time now, it's still quite overbought, as described very nicely by our Steamroller indicator there, and there's a lot of bearish divergence forming on this CCI indicator also, and of course RSI is still quite overbought as well. So in the grand scheme of things, if we're looking on the macro scale, if we're looking, over the last couple of months, it does need a decent pullback for it to be healthy. because you don't go from 10,500 to 13,000 and not have any sort of pullback or any sort of correction. So it's really difficult to run in with this sort of momentum and this sort of steam for as long as we have without expecting anything to the downside. So that's what realistically I'm looking towards. But on the flip side, on the bull side, if we can move back into this upwards trend or this ascending triangle structure here, and get squeezed into this corner, there is every possibility that FOMO could push this higher past 14.
Yeah, there still is definitely a lot of FOMO in this market at the moment. People thinking that we're hitting all, new, and this is not me saying whether we are or not, but you see the chatter on Twitter and Facebook. It's the call for all-time highs, break above 14K. There's nothing to the left, and we're going to, moonshot up to that 20K period. And while that very much could be the case, we're seeing a lot of bullish sentiment in the market. We're seeing a lot of fundamental news with PayPal and some of the other guys now, publicly admitting that they are setting capital allocations aside from in terms of investment companies, not so much PayPal, but I think PayPal has now increased their daily purchases, I think, to 15K that I saw. I might be incorrect on that one, but I know there was a little bit more PayPal Bitcoin news today. See, like the big guys talking about asset allocations, putting liquid into BTC. But yeah, so there very much could be that rise to the top. But where we are right now and the move that we've had from back on sort of the 19th of October and this really, really nice run from that sort of 11.4 area up to where we are now, 13.5, a cool off would certainly be healthy in the continuation of this uptrend. No denying BTC is in a very bullish phase right now, but sort of short term where we're sitting right now, I really would like to see this break 13.6 and I guess 13.8 would be the main areas for me where we would maybe look for secondary rejections if we do continue up from here. And then as Ad said, that sort of 13.150, 13.2 and then back down towards that sort of let's say sort of 13 level, and then 12.8, 12.5 is sort of where I'm looking beyond there. I don't know if we'll get there that quick. I guess when we have a look at ETH at the moment, we can see that things can change quite quickly as they have for ETH. So I'm definitely seeing a little bit of weakness here, particularly when we start looking at the daily time frame and the Steamroller indicator. If we do go to the time frame, the daily time frame there, Ads, and we can see on your chart that we've got that upper supply there, which is, I guess, kind of being breached, would you say, by that daily candle that we saw there a couple of days ago? How would that relate, in your opinion, to seeing the strength of that upper supply hold should we retest that again?
It's still quite valid, in my opinion, because we created that wick into that zone. We did still close underneath the level, and the subsequent candles does prove that. Because those wicks didn't, enter it anywhere near with the amount of force as the first one did it, and of course we've closed below multiple times, after that had occurred. So there is still a significant amount of selling pressure at this level, judging by that. Of course, it is weakened somewhat because we've had this level or this wick to the upside. But nothing substantial, man. Nothing substantial. It can still hold us up for quite some time if we don't get some substantial volume into this. The only thing is the volume has been dwindling off. It has been breaking off, and we are seeing the result of that now because we did fail to break through that 13.8 or that 14K level. So it's going to be interesting, but definitely if we want to expect some more upside, if we want to expect to get through this critical level of supply, which has been long standing for over a year now, we need some more volume into this market, and honestly, more than we've had.
And we've got the US elections coming up very shortly. Trump held his last rally, I believe, today. And then I think election night is tomorrow night for the US. So it'll be interesting to see how not only the traditional markets react to that, whether it be a Trump or Biden win. I know it'll take a little while to get those results, but I think at counting, I think almost 100 million people have already pre-voted. I think was some of the stats. So we might get results a little bit quicker than we anticipated. But yeah, again, I'd be very interested to see how the traditional markets react to that being a Biden or Trump win. So. Moving on now to perhaps we'll have a look at the BTC Dominance, and then we'll get into FUSD.
the BTC Dominance has been doing quite well, and I'll turn this volume off for just a second. But it has been doing quite well. There is a gap just above us at around here-ish, and I'll draw that in. That's the gap we're looking at. More than likely, statistical likelihood of gaps being filled. I know this is not an index or a major coin or anything like that. It is the dominance chart, but still, the statistical likelihood of a gap being filled is 95%. So if BTC does extend its trajectory to the upside, and we do see a retest of that 8,000 level of supply there, then we could possibly see this gap being filled on the BTC Dominance chart, and up to the 65% level. However, if we don't get that push up to the 13,800, and we do what we expect it to do in the way of have a decent pullback or a decent correction by that rejection of that supply, then this will start to pull back on its own. And if I'm drawing in the level of supply that's relevant, if I just get rid of this box that I've drawn, and I draw in the supply that's relevant at the moment, that is it there. So if we're looking at a daily time frame, and I'll get rid of some of this lower time frame stuff that we've got in there. If we're looking at just the major swing, this is the level of supply that I'm looking at. That candle's quite easy to find. We've got a retest multiple times to the right-hand side of that. And we are testing this level again. So this is something to look for, not something to look forward, this is something to keep in mind, because if we start to decline on the Forex, on the BTC Dominance chart, if we start to move to the downside and be rejected as BTC has off the level of supply, this can easily push BTC down in value, and the alt start to make a little bit of a recovery. So keep that in mind, that we are at a critical level now on the BTC Dominance at 64.45%, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out with a gap just above us.
Yeah, and it would be really nice to see BTC have a little cool off, trend sideways for a little bit, and let alts kind of have a bit of a run and flourish. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens in the next few days or the end of this week. We did say we thought this week was going to be an interesting one for BTC and crypto, and it certainly has been thus far, particularly with FUSD ads. So we have a look at that now and see what happened with the drop on that overnight has been a little bit more substantial than on BTC. And when we were talking to the guys inside Discord yesterday, we were talking yet again about the significance of that 400 level, where we said that, yeah, sure, we had that little move above and we went up to around $404 before we had that sort of pin bar wick there. And then we had that doji sort of showing that little bit of indecision. As we said, that 400 level was going to be key for us. And we spoke about this, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, where we spoke about or talked about this sort of range, where if we could just sort of flutter between that 370 or that 380 level and that 400 level, and we've nosedive right back down towards that 379 level again.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have been speaking about this quite extensively over the last little bit. This area here at the top, this level of supply here, has been something that I've been looking at for quite some time. If you've been watching my nightly updates or my daily updates every evening, and not surprising, we've had that higher high, we've had that lower low, we're making lower highs now. This was another lower high that I was really expecting for Ethereum, because of the whole sentiment around it as of late. Yeah, it's not like it's been excelling in its field as of late. It's just been on the back burner, and there's a lot of bits and pieces, a lot of negative connotation going around Ethereum and around the tech. It's more of the tech and the chain and everything like that I'm referring to, not as a vehicle of investment. But nothing surprising. Steamroller did give us a little bit of exhaustion, a little bit of overbought condition there, alongside our 400 level, which was honestly something that we were looking at for quite some time. Given the white line that we've got through there, we had some resistance, we had some support, and obviously some support and some resistance there. So lots of flips in either direction. That was one of the main reasons why we chose $400. And then of course we had our level of supply that we got rejected on. Moving down now, we have made a lower low in the way of that market structure goes. We've got obviously this sort of thing forming here. So if we get some sort of relief, we are retesting that Fibonacci level now, and if this doesn't give us any sort of significant volume, and I'll turn the volume back on, yeah, we're not getting any significant volume over the last little bit. If we don't see any significant volume come into ETH, honestly, it's 365. That's where I see it.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that. I really think we're going to see a fair bit of, head up resistance at around that fib level, even anywhere up to sort of maybe 385, perhaps, before we potentially get smacked back down. That lower high, higher low, the lower highs and the lower lows that you pointed out there is pretty indicative of this downward market trend structure. I want to just get you to put on Unicon. Yeah, and that's what I've got on my chart as well. If we put on Unicon, one thing that, you can see the validity there. But if you just put on our, it was one particular tool that I had. So if you put on your super trend exit and your all trend reversal. So in our Unicon indicator, it gives us divergence indications. It also gives us when a trend reversal is apparent. And you can see that if we just turn off our super trend exit just very quickly.
Sorry, man. Yeah.
No, you're right.
Super trend exit. There you go.
So you can see here, and this is one thing that I pointed out to the guys when we were at that 400 level. I said, hey, Unicon is telling us now that maybe this run is going to be a limited run. And that's when we sort of got to that 404 level there. So Unicon is telling us that we're seeing a small trend reversal here, but with that demand here in our EMA resistance that we have just above that as well with our EMA fan. I'm a bit of an EMA fiend for anyone that hasn't seen my charts beforehand. We've got a cluster of resistance between our 200 MA at around 381, all the way up to our 50 and our 100 EMA at around 387. So I think any short-term reversals that we have here are going to be short-lived, in my opinion. I just don't see the strength in ETH right now for consistent bigger moves to the upside. If we go to our daily time frame and then put our all trend reversal on, our super trend exit as well.
Sorry, yeah.
And I pointed this out a couple of times in the last few weeks, but for those guys who do have our pro or premium trade packs and aren't utilizing Unicon in this way, from a macro scale, to where, we never rely on one indicator, that would just be foolish. But looking at the validity of what our super trend exits are telling us, our all trend reversals here, when we had that double bottom, our super trend, and the divergence that has given us at every single top, it would be worth going back and doing a little bit of back testing with that Unicon, or seeing how it might appeal to what you're doing at the moment, to give you those sort of overviews of where we may be headed on your 4-hour or daily time frame. Beyond that, I don't use it on too small a time frame. The 4 and 1 day, I find it works really, really well, particularly in conjunction with the likes of Steamroller like this. That's two very, very valid signals for a potential top.
Absolutely, it is. And something to validate your TA that you're using already, yeah? So if you're using, supply and demand, support resistance, whatever you may be using, Ichimoku could be using. But something to give you further validity on, the trends that you're seeing, the trends that you're identifying by hand.
Do you think this is just me asking this now as well, and forgive me because I've got you on one of my smaller screens, but do you think we could see something like that where we would maybe have a bearish retest of that demand zone, or that supply zone and that overall trend line before we get moved back down to the downside?
Absolutely,
and that bottom demand zone? Could
be an option, man. Absolutely could be an option. Thanks for pointing that out. I didn't even see that. I don't use trend lines all that often, admittedly, but definitely can see that happening. Because, if we're looking on the 4-hour time frame, and to further back that up, Ty, we're getting towards, that lower band, especially with the RSI, CCI, not so much Steamroller, but we could have that retest, which would be roughly around here-ish. Same place we identified before, 385. So, yeah, nice pickup.
Cool. All right. Again, not looking at too many alts, so we can see the sea of red there to the right-hand side. We've been saying this for the last few weeks now. For anyone who trades alts as aggressively as what I do, it's been really hard sitting on the sidelines and watching it. I'm not into shorting any alts or anything like that. I'd much rather have a play when things are in the green, and I can focus on ETH and BTC during these times. Here, just very, very quickly, can we have a look at FBTC? Just be patient, because the time for alts will come, and when they come, you're going to need to be on your game. So right now, I'm happy to stay out of alts. It's a bloodbath.
So just to validate that it is a bloodbath, we have smashed through this level of demand that we spoke about probably not long ago. I reckon it was probably last Thursday. We are sitting on the next one here. And very easy to find, that red candle just to the left there on the 4-hour time frame. Very, very easy to find. Coming to the right-hand side, we have, bounced off this level twice now. And we have plenty of room to move in either direction, to be honest. This could be a level that we double bottom off, or it could be a level that we smash through again and move to the downside, pending what BTC does, pending what the BTC Dominance chart does. I'd be very interested to see if this holds, because that BTC Dominance chart, if you circle back and watch it again, we are at a critical level of supply, as we did point out before. So it could be a catalyst for a little bit of a recovery on Ethereum BTC, and a little bit of recovery for the alt market in general. But I wouldn't be putting heaps and heaps of weight on it, because we've had such a large amount of slippage for so long that I would be waiting for a little bit of confirmation to present itself before jumping into anything drastically. And, on that, the way that I trade, I'd be looking at this level of demand, seeing that our Steamroller and a lot of our indicators are still, roughly ranging in the middle of their bands there. So I'd be a little bit hesitant to really jump into this for a spot buy or a long position just yet. Let's wait for a little bit of confirmation on that BTC Dominance chart before doing anything like that, Ty.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that any recoveries, again, we have on FBTC, looking at the alt market as a whole, I think will be short-lived. And then again, I'm looking for the sort of potential moves back down to sort of 26,000 sats might be on the cards if we can't hold this level where we're at now. So again, not paying a ton of attention to this, because I know that alts are bleeding all over the place. But I've definitely got some alerts set around that 26,000 sat mark.
Absolutely, and that's a really good play to have. Just give yourself as much information as possible before doing anything. Usually, I would be all for it. Jumping into a position on the higher time frames at like a level of demand, as I've taught many times over before for those who are watching. However, something like this, which has been slipping for so long and coming down and having no sign of stopping, we have a fantastic resource to be able to measure the alt market against, which is the BTC Dominance. So always keep that in mind. If we do get some bearish sentiment on that chart, then you can flick on the switch and try and get some alt trades happening. But until then, we'll leave it be for now.
Easy done. All right, let's get into the Forex market stuff. Of course, anything that we do share here is purely just opinion. It is not financial advice. If you want financial advice on any of these regulated markets, have a chat to your own financial advisor.
Thank you, sir. With the DXY, not surprising that we're getting a level now of rejection off that 78.6. And this is the sort of sell-off that it needs coming up to A, this election, and B, because the TA says so. But this 78.6 that we identified last night, I believe, from swing high to swing low, was something that we were looking towards, and we did get that rejection that we were looking for, because that our Steamroller indicator was way overbought, and alongside that we had some bearish div on the CCI, and alongside RSI being quite overbought as well. So not surprising on the DXY to get a little bit of a pullback. We are heading firmly towards that 50 and 38 level there. More than likely that 38 level of demand will be retested. So if I identify that level, let's draw it all the way across just to see if we've got some sentiment to the left. Yeah, so we've got lots of liquidity sitting to the left-hand side. And of course, that forms the top of our level of demand there. So something along the lines that I'm looking at, 93.45 for the DXY to start to come down and give us a little bit of a correction before any potential moves back to the upside. And of course, something that is very loose. And let me know if you think this isn't valid, Ty, but I reckon it is. 1, 2, and possibly 3. Coming off that could be something to look for as well. So inverse head and shoulders off on that 4-hour time frame. It's a little bit skewed. It's sort of on the bottom of a trend. So something like that could be on the cards for maybe movement to the upside for the DXY. That would be a nice recovery and a nice push up and a decent level to look for. But yeah, for the DXY, in any case, not getting too ahead of myself, immediately 93.45 and around that 50 and 38 area of Fibonacci for that. For gold, we'll move straight on to gold. Something that we've done TA, quite a bit on the streams in the past. Haven't done it over the last couple of weeks, but I probably should have, because we did bounce quite nicely off that level of demand. So I apologize, didn't keep you guys updated on that. But more than likely, reacting off that level of Steamroller and the DXY coming to the downside, giving us that solid correction down. That's why we're seeing this sweep move to the upside on gold. However, the area that I'll be looking for, of course, the first one being the supply at 1923, and the next one being, this movement down out of the leg out of the zone at around 1904 would be the first area of interest for gold. And more than likely, if we do continue to the downside with a lot of the volume coming in on this Tuesday night for the DXY, then we'll see that play out over the course of this evening for gold. Something that I really want to look at also is the All Ords. The All Ords is something that we look at on the daily time frame. We did get rejected off that level of supply, which was drawn in from quite some time ago on the 5th of March. So still this year, but a few months ago now. That first rejection happened quite nicely. We got our retrace back to the 61.8, which was textbook retrace. So it's going to be interesting to see if we do get that swift recovery back up to our level of supply, or if we get rejected over the next couple of days with a lot of the news coming from, the global financial markets, the global situation and everything like that. Of course, the grand scheme of things, my sentiment is to the downside after this, pretty good effort in the way that that recoveries go off just a huge fall off a cliff. So it's done quite well so far, but there's still a ways to go. And obviously we got to break that last high before we even consider that we are going to retest and move to a full recovery back to where we were. I think that's quite far-fetched to really suggest at the moment. So I'm just keeping this on my radar. If we do move back up to this 64.20 level, I'll look at it again in the way of making a recovery, but nothing yet, nothing even on the cards as of yet. Last one we'll look at tonight is the SPX 500, and it's been doing okay, but it's been faring in the direction that we really want it to go for the global markets. So the top 500 US stocks is what makes up the S&P 500 index, and it's just nicely bounced off our level of demand that we bounced off previously, and we are getting that slight recovery now, and to be expected. Some of our indicators are along that bottom edge or that bottom band for it to continue down fearless of quite significantly in a row. So getting something a little bit more according to TA. So we did bounce off that level of demand, and we are retesting that 38.2. Whether or not we push through that 38.2 is another story altogether, and it'll probably judge the all ordinaries in the way of direction as well over the next couple of days. So yeah, I think that concludes my Forex and regulated stuff for tonight, Ty.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget, if you do want to get your hands on the Steamroller, easily our most used custom indicator that we've ever created before here at UTG, unitytradinggroup.com. Head to the indicators tab up the top and you'll get your 10-day trial. You can cancel that at any time. It's not a locked-in thing. Just go through, fill out your details, and hit us up on Discord or anything, any of the platforms that you like. If you want to ask questions, there's video there on how to use it. So many resources inside Discord, and an incredible community of people here, all happy to help you out and see you win in this market. But without further ado, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in our next update.
See you then, guys. Thanks for joining us.